Hello guys, what's up? Kevin Mason here, and as a director, I'd like to see my films reach the full extent and possibility it can make. Now, I am making this video to give advice to Jaden to make Supernovas 3 awesome. 5 ways how to make it. The reason why I'm making this video is to help Jaden professionally, to help him make Supernovas 3 after such a long delay, and 4 standalone movies backing up such an anticipated film. That a lot of pressure's on him. And we can all agree that Supernovas 2, Jaden's last directed Supernova film released to the public, wasn't exactly the strongest out of the Supernova series. Um, mm, so for that, I am here to give it to basically say these are my top 5 reasons on how you can make Supernovas 3 awesome. Okay, first reason. I need this is something that is a requirement. Do not make it just about Desmond Force. Now, I read an early draft of Supernovas 3 because I'm a boss like that. But we can all concur that Supernovas 2 was basically a Desmond Force standalone film. That was basically it. And the charm about Supernovas 1 is that it didn't just rely on Desmond Force. There was no I can't say with you guys because everyone's after me. There was none of that. It was all based off of all 3 of those characters getting powers. All 3 of those characters being significantly important. And that's what made the series so special. Because nobody at the time has made a film not just about themselves as the stars, but having a whole group of people being in charge. I mean, it's cool if you're the leader of the group, but do not just make the story about you. Have some character development. And after the huge, let me just say surprising too, success of Detective Freeze Age of Antifreeze and how he's a smart mouth and how he can be serious and how he's intelligent, you can use that character in so many significant ways. And Neo, well, he's a bloodthirsty killer, but how are you gonna make him into a character that goes by a no killing rule? I'd like to see that being developed. Also, how is the end of Supernovas 3 going to set up the events of the next Neo standalone film? How is it going to lead to Neo mentoring the one man, um, Razor Shades, aka um, Joan Storm? That is something that is should be just in there, honestly. Number 2, finish the story. Yes, um, we can all agree that the story of Supernovas is at its highest thanks to Detective Freeze, Age of Antifreeze, and the standalones, and the first Supernova, of course. But here's what we need, honestly. We don't know who Doctor Infinite is. We don't know who um Agent Robinson is. We don't know what happened to Agent Robinson, and we don't know where Doctor Infinite is. So that's where you come into play for Supernovas 3. Explain what happened to those characters and finish up their stories. Where did they come from? Why are they there? Well, we already know why we're there, but we should basically concur um, their final arc in the story. Now, we can all pretty much concur that Dr. Infinite will be, in fact, in the film. He has to be. It's a requirement. As a character, you need to put such an iconic role throughout the Supernova series and a mysterious role to finally be revealed in the final part. I mean, it'll be basically saying, okay, we're gonna introduce this character like Nightcrawler from the X-Men. He's gonna be so cool. Then we don't bring him in the third. So that's what you need to do. You need to bring back Doctor Infinite, and you also need to bring back Agent Robinson. You need to finish up their stories in Supernovas 3. Make this a long, long video. Oh, wait, ignore that. But make this a long story. No, make this story significant to where Dr. Infinite is important, and we find out more of his objective. Who exactly is Dr. Infinite? We already know everything about Agent Robinson, but who is Dr. Infinite? We need to explain that in Supernovas 3. And nevertheless, fighting the villain. Okay, third, and this is why I was stressing myself before, make this a long video. You have a lot to explain, honestly. And honestly, people have been dying for a Supernovas 3, honestly, and we're finally going to get one. But the truth is this. We don't need to, we can't theorize, but we need a long story. We need a long video. Because when you really look at it, this is probably your second last or last video that you will make in the Supernova series. Nevertheless, if you retire YouTube in general, this will be one of the last videos you will make. So what you need to do, what should, without a doubt, without any question, has to be there, is a long story, Dr. Infinite. You got to explain how Neo and Detective Freeze are doing in a much grittier life, because after the events of the next movie that's coming out this weekend, you have to explain what is going on. You have to explain how these guys are gritty, what they're gonna do, how are they gonna come back to the team, how are they gonna react after Desmond Force. Well, as you can tell, you're gonna see it in the upcoming film, but you got a lot to explain with Detective Reese and Desmond Force. You got a lot to interact with that. All right. Number 4. Bring back uniquity. Bring back the unique. Here's what was so unique about Supernovas 1. You got to see them use their powers. Here's something that I failed to do, and even in my trilogy, here's something that I failed to do. I failed to reach Neo's highest potential. Give us, as Neo fans, including myself, give us Neo. Give us the bloodthirsty killer that transitions into a no-kill code man and a defender with the supernovas. Bring us that awesome story arc, while also telling the story arc of Detective Freeze on how you're going to get him from being so corrupt and so convinced that humanity will hate them. How are you going to convince him to have faith in humanity for acceptance? You got to accept, you got to write a story about that. You have to. Not only that, but after the events of, I already know what's happening in this movie, but after the events of Desmond Force's standalone film, you got to explain. You got to also realize, yeah, sure, he may have blankety blank, but you also have to humanize the character, even with that. You can't make him like invincible. You have to make him humanized. He may have that, but he has to have some vulnerability to the character. He otherwise it ruins the feel of relationship. You cannot relate to the character because he is out of your reach. This is why I don't like DC characters, because they're unrelatable. Batman, yeah, sure. But Superman, you're never gonna fly. You're never gonna shoot laser beams. You're never gonna breathe cold air. You're never going to be able to be smashed through buildings and not even get a scratch. You he may have that, but please, Jaden, humanize the character, make him like still unique to these to this. Make him unique. Um make him in a way a noob at this. That's the most I can say without any crossing lines. And as the movie progresses, at the end of it, he masters it and he uses it. But also in the whole film, make Desmond Force reckless, because in the whole film and the whole franchise, Desmond Force has always been the guy with the answers. Make him vulnerable. Make the toughest character vulnerable. So we feel for that character. And when he gets back to that level, we're like saying, yeah, let's do this. That's the best way to do it. Now, number 5. This is without a doubt something you need to put in the film. Give us a throwout end credit scene. Give us. This is what I mean. Ever since Supernovas 2, I don't think it's a Neo, but ever since Supernovas 2, we always had end credit scenes that explain the future of other properties or the future of the franchise. Here's what you should do. I want Jaden, honestly, I want Jaden to make since this will be the last film, I want him to make a end credit scene that is worthwhile, that is worth watching, that is honestly the best end credit scene. He needs to go out with a bang. Predict something like, yeah, the next Neo standalone film is going to be the prequel for Edge of Death. Give us something that goes to that um, you know, um, that sets up that iconic story, or um, maybe hint at a future Supernovas film if you are up to it, or hint at the next Uplink. Hint at a damn Edge of Death and Uplink crossover, goddammit. I don't know. All I know is that you need, this is not something we want. You need to give us a end credit scene that will that will make us hold on and just be excited. Oh my god, I just watched that and it was that good. Now, whatever the end credit scene was, I need the next one. I need the next one. Give us something to look forward to. And that's something that you need to put in. And that, without a doubt, are the 5 things that need to make Supernovas 3 awesome. You put these 5 things in there, I guarantee you Supernovas 3 will be the most awesome film you're ever going to make. And you got even time to make it, because I think you got 2 weeks at max, because this week I'm working on Neo versus Detective Freeze, and next week we're working on your standalone. Or we're probably going to be working on some other things. I don't know, it's up to you. But you got 2 weeks. Give us something more fun. All right, see ya.